Aloha kakayaka e Hawaii. This is Pokalai Nui, and you are listening to Hawaiian Potpourri on radio station KWAI 1080 on your AM dial. Broadcasting from the top of the Chinese Cultural Plaza here in Honolulu, Hawaii. Time now is 5 minutes and 42 seconds past the hour of 7 o'clock. We did not go to news because we are not picking up any satellite feed, and so we've been playing some morning music to wake you up. The background music right now is by Brother Martin Pahinui, and the song is Waikapu. In the last hour, we have been talking about a number of subjects dealing all the way from spirituality as seen through the eyes of a Vietnamese policeman working in Fukushima, Japan, and his comments on the Japanese society. We've also talked about, or we've covered some of the stuff that occurred last night, and then we talked about very briefly the presidential debate and what was said and what was not said, and different views that come from that. So in this next hour, let's see where we go.
This is KWAI, Honolulu, 1080 on the AM dial.
The subject I want to raise at this time deals with national defense, and I come to that subject based on a letter to the editor written by Lloyd Jones of Waialae, and his letter is headlined, Let's Discuss Need for U.S. Fighter Jets. You reported that there are now 18 Raptor aircraft at Hickam. In total, these cost more than the Honolulu rail system is planned to cost. Yet we are not having the same public discussion as to whether this is an appropriate use of taxpayer money. Are these a necessary defense against a real threat? Or are they just toys for the flyboys and fodder for the military-industrial complex? For decades, we have had fancy fighters at Hickam. In that time, I have not heard who they defended us against, nor have I heard why a plane that is awesome is now required. As the ones paying for these planes, I think we deserve a discussion, just as we are having for rail. It is the same taxpayer pockets that are paying for both. The people whose careers benefit from the planes should not be the only folks having input on the need for them. As I said, it was a letter to the editor from Lloyd Jones of Waialae, and this I found in the Star Advertiser on Monday, at page A8. Okay, I picked up on that article, recalling also that about the same time there was this news article, supposedly news, but oftentimes they're just editorials under the cover of being something newsy. And it says that the American military is in defense of our freedoms. And as I started reading that, I know it's a line that constantly gets tossed out without challenge. And so I started asking myself, really? What freedoms had to be defended since the end of the Second World War? American freedoms? Immediately following the Second World War, the U.S. engaged in what they refused to even declare as a war, but it was a conflict. Somehow it's supposed to carry different constitutional value and the reportage back to the U.S. Congress is eliminated, I guess. And so the Korean War was not really a war, it was a conflict. And U.S. military in Korea, and part of which I served, not during that period of time, but when I was in the military in the 70s, that it was through the auspices of the United Nations. Was it really in defense of American freedoms? Or was it an intervention into the resolution of a conflict between one people, then divided into two countries, North and South Korea? And to what extent were the freedoms of even the Americans implicated by this Korean conflict? I didn't see it. What other wars that have occurred in which American military had been used in defense of American freedoms? Well, you've had some excursions into South America by American troops going in there in undeclared conflicts or wars where the U.S. troops are not supposed to have been there in the first place. And you can begin with Cuba as one place, and then there's other areas that they went into. But where were the American freedoms that were being threatened in any of those excursions taken by American soldiers? I don't know. I didn't see any. And then if we take a look at going back to Asia and take a look at what happened in Vietnam, what happened in Cambodia, what happened in other areas in which American troops were sent, where were the threats to American freedoms? There were no threats. There may have been threats to American empire building in these areas, or the American so-called national interest, which was really capitalist interest into those areas. But American freedoms? Not that I know of. And then if you look at American forces during that same period of time, and even before that in Turkey and in other European areas, were they in defense of American freedoms? Not so. When the American forces were face to face with the Soviet Union over the issue of Cuba, the deal that was struck between Nikita Khrushchev and John Kennedy was that if the Americans would remove their weapons out of Turkey, which was aimed at the Soviet Union, then the Soviets would remove their weapons out of Cuba. And after the deal was struck, there was one caveat that Kennedy had imposed in that deal, and that was that they are not to make the announcement of this agreement until there was a showdown and the Russians or the Soviet would withdraw from that showdown and they would remove their nuclear weapons. But this was part of the Shibai, and it was certainly not in defense of American freedoms. So what freedoms are the American soldiers defending as of the last 50, 60 years? Or maybe you can even go beyond that, 70 years. Let's take a look at the Middle East and North African areas and the involvement of American troops in those areas over the last 10 to 15 years. Were there American freedoms that were being threatened? And so American military had to occupy these places? Not really. There were American interests, American capitalist interests again, that went in there. But I didn't see it as a defense of American freedoms. Now, you may have a different recall of history or a different tabulation of where American freedoms were really threatened. But that is my recall. I invite your telephone calls. The telephone number here is 524-1080 if you would like to express a contrary opinion or perhaps even a similar opinion. I recall a statement made by Osama bin Laden, or at least a statement was attributed to him in his letter to the American people. And he says that many people are saying that we have conducted this. Now the telephone continually rings. All right. Let me take this call. Aloha, caller. Welcome to the program. Hello, caller. You're on the air. All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you now.
Oh, that's strange. That other phone was ringing all outside of mine. But at any rate, I wanted to respond to this empire building, and you say the wars were run in capitalist interests, and they were not threatening our personal freedoms. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, how I see it is our personal freedoms have been gradually taken away from us in pursuit of these capitalist interests. I mean, look how far they've gone in denying us the right to dissent. The police are sent out with their spray and all this kind of business. And as I said yesterday, this inspirational significance that I'm afraid you might have, and don't be too inspiring now, can be considered a threat to American security. So we can see our freedoms gradually being taken away from us in order to support this kind of empire building. So yes, you're absolutely correct. But we are losing our freedoms anyway, no matter how hard they're theoretically fighting for defense of them. Well, but thank you very much, folks.
Okay, thank you for calling. Aloha. And if you would like to call, our telephone number is 524-1080. So the caller says that our freedoms are being more greatly encroached upon by capitalism, and the response given by the government here to that capitalism or the protection of that capitalism. Very interesting. Okay, let's go to our next caller. We do have two callers on the line. Let's take them in order. Welcome to the program. Aloha.
Hi.
Hoi, aloha.
Hi, aloha kakahiaka.
Hi, aloha.
Oh, nice and clear today.
Oh, it is? Oh.
Yes,
Okay,
wow.
good to hear that.
It sounds like the best I've ever had.
On the telephone or even in the reception?
And the radio and the phone.
Ah. Oh,
Well, I'm back
okay.
in Kahului this morning, so
Oh, I
that
see.
might be the difference in Waimanalo, yeah?
Yeah.
Waimanalo, they get all that jamming, electronic jamming, so the Hawaiians don't know what the hell's going on, yeah?
Yeah.
But anyway, I just called to, I think your evaluation of the debate needs some adjustment.
Okay.
And basically, this Mr. Ramirez this has been the only opportunity that he's had to talk directly to Mr. Obama, yeah? And the other day I was listening and somebody called in. Basically, he used to own $20,000 worth of General Motors stock.
Okay.
And he has nothing today. And Obama bailed out General Motors, the unions, yeah? And Americans should be very happy because they now own 500 million shares of General Motors. That it went from $49 a share to $21 right now. But the reason I called, one caller earlier had mentioned about the other than a Republican or a Democrat candidate here. Gary Johnson is another of these candidates. He used to be the governor of New Mexico. And he took them to court so he could get on the debate, and I don't know what happened to that. But the thing about it in America, in the system that they have, third-party people will never get elected, yeah? They get elected maybe by the people, but they never pass the electoral test, yeah? And that's the way they set it up, yeah? But the reason I called, basically, more so is October 8th, tomorrow.
Okay.
Monday.
Yeah.
A bunch of us Hawaiian nationals, again, will attempt to get registered to vote. And we'll be at City Hall on Discoverers Day, yeah? It's no longer a holiday, yeah? And at 1 o'clock, we're going to go in. This would be our 5th attempt to get registered to vote. And all other 4 times we were denied. Just as U.S. nationals are denied to vote. But anyway, and then at 2 o'clock, in front on Beretania Street on the Mauka side of the rotunda there, the state rotunda, we will be protesting Act 55.
Okay.
And Act 55 is being protested on all islands at 2 o'clock at different locations,
I see.
of course. Act 55 is the Public Land Development Corporation. And then, but more so, more importantly, October 8th in 1840, Kamehameha III, Kauikiaule, shared his sovereignty with the people of Hawaii. He gave them a makana, a gift. And with that was the Declaration of Rights and the Constitution.
What year did you say?
1840.
Okay.
Written officially. And then it was finally officially by the legislature of that time, in 1852,
What happened in 1852?
It was officially adopted by the legislature, the government of the Hawaiian Kingdom, Prior to that, it was just a declaration.
I see. And of course, he was a king.
1839 and then 1840 was written, but it was never officially.
Yeah, the 1839 was sometimes called the Luaehu Constitution, because that's where he introduced it in.
But people got to remember that. I know everything is focused on what's happening in Washington, but Hawaiian nationals got to understand that gift, makana, did not afford you the right to do anything you want with it. You either exercise your privilege of being a Hawaiian national, or you don't trade it in for land or for votes or for T-shirts, You get my drift?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, well, again, I'm glad that you electronically have solved anyway.
At least I'm on the air.
Transmission, At
least I'm on the air,
no, it's really improved. So I'll let you know.
Okay, good. I'm on this side. It's hard to tell. Yeah, thank you very much for your call. Take care. Aloha. And if you would like to call, and I do note that there was someone else also on the line, you can call back. I'll take your telephone call. I was previously talking about these freedoms and protection of freedoms. Osama bin Laden had, in his message to the American people, had said, we have been accused of hating American freedoms, and as a result, we have attacked the United States. This was with regards to the 9/11 event. He says that is not why we are attacking. We are not against the freedoms of a people. If we were against democracy, if we were against your freedoms, we would be attacking Norway, we would be attacking Sweden, we would be attacking Finland, we would be attacking other countries just as well. But it is because of the U.S. conduct and its conduct as regards the people of Islam or the Islamic faith that we are conducting this aggression. So this idea of protecting our freedoms by the American military, I don't see any merit behind that. We do have another caller. Let's go to that call. Aloha caller, welcome to the program.
Oh, is it me?
Yes, go ahead, caller.
Oh, is it Poga?
Yeah, hello.
Yes. So one of the freedoms that the Americans, that they, like the Medal of Honor winners that was here this past week, what freedoms did they defend?
Really protect and defend, yes.
Here it is, Poga. They, according to ESPN broadcasters, if it wasn't for, those guys, they wouldn't be able to comment on Major League Baseball, the National Football League. But seriously, I mean, they say this. Guys like me wouldn't be able to do what I do, I just like people in Iran cannot give their opinions about sports. Yeah. But yeah, and not only that, but what they call this thing the Medal of Honor. Yeah. Medal of Honor, but I'm almost sure they gave some of these things to soldiers who, for example, was in the war against the Filipinos from 1899 to 1902. And as a book recently out, came earlier this year by the historian Greg Jones, called Honor in the Dust, which really documents what went on, the atrocities, seemingly genocidal actions aimed at Filipinos. Yeah. They wouldn't acquiesce to American rule over them. The thing is, when you was talking about the debates earlier, what I look at there, Poca, is people who have come out as really ostensibly as big street judges, to me shows that they are supporters of re-electing President Obama. So many of them were very, very disappointed with how he came across tonight. I mean, these are the partisans of MSNBC. The host of the Ed Show, notably, I mean, this is very outspoken Obama supporter, not a critic. And he said Obama's in trouble. If he does this again, he's in trouble. Yeah. That he thought he could just show up. And this is in part to the function of the press. The former CBS journalist Bernard Goldberg has documented how the press just literally kissed Obama's behind 4 years ago when he ran. All this a slobbering love affair. And then this is not his subjective opinion. He tells you who said what, when, which journalist on ABC or CBS, and then he shows you the vast difference in treatment that McCain and Obama got. And so when Mr. Obama steps into the arena where there isn't one of his friends in the press to shield him, to lob softballs at him, he gets stung. He gets stung. And I say, let him go. But let's have real debate, not a mere Q&A in which you have 1 minute to respond. That part I liked was that they were allowed to go, as long as it can be heard, as one is not stepping on the other's toes, as far as trying to talk over him all the time. Let him go. Let them both be heard. I'm glad those letter writers that you pointed out earlier in the week who wrote those letters complaining about the air show and the noise. I tell you what, before you go to that subject, what I'm going to do is put you on hold. I'm going to go to some music. I need to cut off this section, and then we'll continue with your call. Okay? So hang on. Don't go away.
nanapua o Hawaii Kupa ama hope o ka aina Iki mai ka elele o ka loko ino Pala pala anunu me ka paka Pane mai Hawaii moku o ke ave Koku ana honoa o Pilani Ka ko'o mai kaua I o mano Pa'aku me ke oni o ka kuhi hewa Aolea e kau I ka pulima Maluna o ka pepa o ka enemi Po o hui ai nā ku ai hewa I ka pono sibi